Greetings from Wisdom Words, a peaceful place to pause and reflect. One story at a time, we examine timeless teachings about life, serenity, and purpose here. So, pause, inhale, and let's get started. Recognizing outgrowing partnerships. Many of us are reluctant to acknowledge the quiet reality that we don't always lose folks. We just outgrow them occasionally. It's not about assigning blame. It doesn't matter who is right or wrong. It's all about growth, our own personal development, the shifting of our priorities, and life's organic course. As we advance through life, our needs, views, and ideals change. In some parts of our lives, certain people are a perfect fit, but as time goes on, the fit changes. That does not negate the significance of the connection. It just indicates that our roots are separating and that the timing has changed. Understanding why outgrowing people feels like a loss. Outgrowing someone might feel like a loss, even if it's natural. You could feel uneasy about moving on. You could worry about your mutual friends judging you. You could miss the laughs and memories you had together. But grief doesn't always imply failure. It can show the beauty of a new chapter beginning and a chapter coming to an end. Relationships that have been outgrown are an indication that you are developing, learning, and trying to find alignment with who you are right now. A tale of changing friendships. Claire was a woman I used to know. Her best buddies in her early 20s shared every pastime, secret, and weekend excursion. It appeared as though they were inseparable. Claire's attitudes and interests started to change as she approached her late 20s. She traveled to new locations, followed new passions, and looked for relationships that aligned with her current outlook on life. She observed that she and some of her oldest friends were becoming more and more distant over time. It was painful at first. She regretted the laughter, the familiarity, and the sense of comfort she previously enjoyed. Claire gradually came to the crucial realization that she had not lost them. They were too big for her. It was okay that their paths had naturally taken different directions. Realizing this made her feel at ease rather than resentful. Why change is necessary for growth. Growth is rarely linear or comfortable. As you change, your priorities shift. You feel different. You become less tolerant of negativity or stagnation. It's normal to outgrow certain relationships during this period. It shows your dedication to alignment and self-awareness rather than failure. It might be detrimental to your development to cling to past relationships out of habit or fear. Consciously and gently letting go makes room for partnerships that complement who you are right now. An account of letting go. There was a man named Daniel. Daniel and his boyhood pals shared every significant occasion, including birthdays, school functions, and first heartbreaks. Daniel relocated to a new city for work when he was in his mid-20s. His friend decided to remain, pleased with the routines that were familiar to him. At first, Daniel made an effort to keep his previous intimacy. He hoped that things would feel the same, made frequent phone calls, and scheduled trips. However, as time went on, it became evident that their lives were no longer rhythmically progressing. Daniel accepted the past rather than holding on to it. He continued to care. He just let the relationship develop. By abandoning attachment to how things once were, Daniel made place for new connections that suited his life's trajectory. Introspective questions. Take a moment to reflect on. Do any of the connections I have in my life no longer reflect who I am growing into? In what ways have my priorities, values, or ambitions changed in the last several years? Would it be possible to respect these relationships while acknowledging that pathways occasionally diverge? By reflecting, we may come to understand that separating from others is a positive development rather than a loss to mourn. The soft lesson of people outgrowing you. Outgrowing people does not erase memories. It doesn't imply that you no longer care. It's about realizing that the seasons of life are ever-changing. You make room for relationships that support your current self when you let yourself change. And that is self-respect, clarity, and authenticity, not abandonment. A carry-along takeaway. People don't leave you. You outgrow them. Every individual who inevitably departs your life makes room for new connections that complement your present development and path. Accept this reality. Give yourself permission to change without fear or guilt. In the following chapter, we'll examine why inner peace requires accepting the way relationships naturally develop and how letting go can actually increase your capacity for love, connection, and self-awareness. Embracing relationships' natural evolution. Because it calls into question our sense of permanence, outgrowing somebody can be unsettling. We like to think that strong relationships and friendships last a lifetime. However, people change, life evolves, and our needs change as well. The secret to achieving serenity in this world is acceptance. It permits you to honor prior relationships while embracing the present. It enables you to be thankful for the past without holding on to things that are no longer appropriate. The significance of acceptance. We bear needless emotional burdens when we oppose change. We relive previous exchanges, questioning our mistakes. We blame ourselves or others for drifting apart. Even in cases where the separation is natural, we experience a sense of loss. Ignoring your emotions is not the same as acceptance. It doesn't imply repressing sorrow. It implies accepting that growth is a normal aspect of life and that some relationships are designed for particular seasons only. A tale of graceful letting go. Alex was a man I used to know. Alex had spent many hours with a friend from his youth. They had an unshakable friendship, sharing secrets, problems, and dreams. Alex and his friend's priorities shifted as adulthood drew near. While his companion favored a calmer, more sedate lifestyle, Alex became fully immersed in his work and new interests. Alex was initially annoyed. He wished for nothing to change. However, he later came to the realization that attempting to force the relationship was preventing him from leading an authentic life. Alex came to terms with the shift. Although he still treasured the memories, he no longer thought the friendship would work the way it had. He was able to move on from this acceptance with gratitude and clarity instead of bitterness or guilt. Important takeaways regarding changing relationships. Understanding that people arrive and go according to growth and time teaches you numerous valuable lessons. 1. Not everybody will develop with you. Some relationships have a temporary function before ending on their own. 2. Release doesn't mean regret. Giving up relationships that don't work out is a sign of your development, not a sign of failure. 3. Growth is mutual. Sometimes both parties evolve in ways that no longer fit, and that's good. 4. Space creates opportunity. By letting go of outmoded ties, you make space for relationships that match with your present self. An account of mutual development. Emma was one of the women. Emma had grown up with a circle of friends. Her objectives and interests changed over time. She sought new experiences outside of her community and became more focused on her work. Her pals didn't change much. Their lives remained steeped in familiarity. After a while, their paths inevitably diverged. Emma felt sadness at first, but she saw that she hadn't lost her friends. She had simply moved forward in alignment with her own progress. In letting go, Emma discovered new friendships that connected with her changing self, and her life became richer, more aligned, and deeply rewarding. Introspective questions. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I clinging to any relationships because I'm comfortable, afraid, or out of habit? How have my objectives, values, and priorities evolved? Can I welcome the natural progression of my relationships without shame or resentment? You can distinguish between embracing change and clinging to nostalgia by reflecting. The benefit of acceptance on an emotional level. When you acknowledge that individuals come and go, you lessen needless emotional stress. Make room for relationships that are healthy. Appreciate the times and lessons shared without hoping for permanence. The bond is not broken by acceptance. It honors the history while allowing your heart to go forward with peace. A carry-along takeaway. Outgrowing individuals is not a loss, it is a sign that you are maturing. With acceptance, you may welcome the connections and opportunities that fit your current path, develop thankfulness for what was, and let go of attachments in a gracious manner. Relationships naturally evolve, serving as a reminder that both the past and the present can be honored in your heart and that progress is necessary. We'll discuss how to deal with guilt and sadness when relationships change in the upcoming chapter, as well as how accepting change can result in future relationships that are stronger and more genuine. Navigating the emotions of outgrowing people. Even when we logically realize that outgrowing people is inevitable, emotionally it can be tough. Frequently, emotions like sadness, remorse, or fear of being judged surface. These feelings are common. They indicate that the relationship was meaningful and that your heart is sensitive to change. The intention is not to repress these emotions. It's to respect them, comprehend them, and let them lead you to acceptance and development. Why sadness and guilt show up? When a relationship evolves, we often think, am I being a bad friend? Am I abandoning someone I care about? Am I being selfish by prioritizing myself? These questions might cause emotional weight. It's crucial to keep in mind, though, that outgrowing someone is not a sign of selfishness. It's a normal aspect of living in accordance with your principles, objectives, and personal development. Nostalgia is often the source of sadness. You grieve shared memories, laughter, and comfort. Grief is just an indicator that the connection was valuable, thus, this is normal. A story about emotional navigation. Sophie was a woman I once met. Sophie had a lifelong buddy who had been a staple in her life since childhood. Sophie saw that their friendship no longer fit with her life as she matured and pursued new hobbies. At first, she was nervous and felt guilty. She worried that letting the distance grow would hurt her buddy or make her seem insensitive. But with time, Sophie discovered that true compassion isn't about pushing connection. It's about respecting the development of both individuals. Sophie started to embrace the shift gracefully. She allowed the friendship to develop organically while remaining kind and respectful. This approach preserved their bond in memory and spirit without creating tension or guilt. Important takeaways for managing emotions. When navigating outgrowing people's emotions, take into account 1. Recognize your emotions, don't repress your guilt or despair. Understand that these feelings are a reflection of attachment and care. 2. Keep growth and responsibility separate. You have no authority over the life or emotions of another person. Your personal progress is a journey. 3. Develop self-compassion by accepting change with kindness. Growth takes courage and reflection. 4. Honor the positive, celebrate the shared memories and lessons learned rather than focusing on loss. A tale concerning emotional equilibrium. There was a man named Liam. Liam had a close friend he spent every summer with growing up. While his companion remained in their hometown, Liam's profession and lifestyle choices as an adult led him to move to other locations. At first, Liam battled feelings of guilt. Distance made him a terrible buddy, he feared. Over time, Liam reflected on the journey. He realized that the friendship had served its purpose for the stage of life it existed in. He was able to accept the memories and the present by letting go of expectations. Liam discovered that acceptance didn't diminish the friendship, it honored it. Introspective questions. Take a moment and reflect. How does contemplating relationships I've outgrown make me feel? Am I needlessly clinging to my sadness or guilt? How can I respect those I've outgrown without sacrificing my development? Reflective questions like these help you transform discomfort into understanding. The restorative potential of perspective. By viewing outgrown relationships from a growth perspective, you can release unnecessary emotional baggage. Value the knowledge gained. Accept upcoming relationships without attachment or dread. Your heart learns that letting go doesn't mean failure. It means choosing authenticity, alignment, and emotional integrity. A carry-along takeaway. Outgrowing people is an emotional journey, sometimes bittersweet, sometimes liberating. Guilt and sadness are natural, but they don't define your growth. When you honor your feelings, practice self-compassion, and embrace the natural evolution of relationships, you create space for deeper, more authentic connections, both with yourself and with others. Underscore 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 underscore. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to cultivate meaningful connections that align with your growth, and why surrounding yourself with people who resonate with your journey is essential for fulfillment and peace. Cultivating connections that align with your growth. Outgrowing people is not only about letting go, it's also about making space. Space for relationships, opportunities, and connections that resonate with your current self. As we evolve, the people we surround ourselves with play a critical role in supporting our growth, happiness, and purpose. Choosing connections intentionally allows us to thrive, rather than merely exist in familiar patterns. Why alignment matters. Not every connection is meant to last forever, and that's okay. Some people energize you, inspire you, and challenge you to be better. Others, while once essential, may no longer align with your values, priorities, or goals. When you outgrow certain relationships, it is an opportunity to focus your energy on people who elevate you. Those who share your curiosity, your drive, and your values become anchors in your life, relationships that feel meaningful and authentic. A story about finding resonance. I once met a woman named Clara. Clara had spent years holding on to friendships that were comfortable but stagnant. She realized that some of her closest friends didn't share her ambitions or vision for her life. Initially, this recognition brought guilt. She worried she was abandoning people she cared about. But as Clara consciously sought connections that resonated with her growth, she found new friendships blossoming, relationships filled with mutual respect, curiosity, and encouragement. She realized that by letting go of what no longer fit, she created space for what truly mattered. Key lessons about intentional connections. When cultivating relationships in alignment with your growth, consider 1. Quality over quantity. Focus on a few meaningful relationships rather than many superficial ones. 2. Shared values matter. Seek people whose principles and goals complement your own. 3. Mutual support. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your growth rather than resist it. 4. Open communication. Foster honesty and transparency to build trust and understanding. Intentional connections encourage your personal growth while offering support, inspiration, and companionship. A story about supportive growth. There was a man named Daniel. Daniel had outgrown several old friendships and initially felt lonely. He then invested time in joining communities and meeting new people who shared his interests and ambitions. These relationships were different, supportive, encouraging, and aligned with his vision for life. Over time, Daniel noticed a profound change. He felt energized, motivated, and seen in ways he hadn't experienced with some old friendships. Letting go of old connections allowed him to embrace the richness of aligned relationships. Reflective questions. Pause and ask yourself, which relationships in my life truly support and uplift me? Are there connections that feel draining, misaligned, or stagnant? How can I make space for relationships that reflect my current growth and values? Reflection helps you identify where to invest your energy for meaningful connection. The power of intentional relationships. Relationships that align with your growth. Amplify your happiness and well-being. Encourage self-discovery and exploration. Provide mutual support through challenges. Inspire you to live authentically. Intentional connections are not forced. They are natural, reciprocal, and reflective of your evolving self. A takeaway to carry. Outgrowing people is not the end, it is a beginning. By consciously cultivating relationships that align with your growth, you create a network of support, inspiration, and authenticity. Your heart learns that letting go makes room for what truly matters, relationships that honor who you are today and who you are becoming. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to embrace your evolving journey with confidence and gratitude, and why trusting the flow of life can bring peace, fulfillment, and authentic connection. Embracing your evolving journey with confidence. By the time we reach the final stage of understanding outgrowing people, there's one truth that becomes clear: growth is a journey, and your relationships are part of that journey, not a permanent fixture. Embracing your evolving path allows you to live authentically, cultivate meaningful connections, and approach life with confidence and gratitude. Why embracing change matters. Life is fluid. People, circumstances, and priorities shift. Resisting this change creates tension, guilt, and regret. Accepting it allows you to move forward with intention. When you embrace your evolution, you trust yourself and your choices. Recognize that growth sometimes requires distance. Appreciate the lessons and memories of past relationships without clinging. Open yourself to meaningful new connections. A story about trusting the journey. I once met a man named Ethan. Ethan had experienced several friendships that faded over the years. Initially, he felt grief and self-doubt, questioning whether he was doing something wrong. With time and reflection, Ethan realized that these experiences were shaping him into the person he was meant to become. He began to trust the process, that people leave when it's natural, and new people enter at the right time. Ethan embraced his journey without forcing relationships or holding on to what no longer fit. This perspective gave him peace, clarity, and a deeper understanding of his growth. Key lessons about embracing your path. 1. Growth is natural. Outgrowing relationships is a sign of evolution, not failure. 2. Trust life's flow. People transition based on their timing, not their value. 3. Honor memories without attachment. Appreciate what was, but don't hold on to what no longer serves your journey. 4. Open yourself to new connections. Letting go creates space for meaningful relationships aligned with your growth. A story about gratitude and perspective. There was a woman named Hannah. Hannah had experienced several close friendships that gradually faded as she pursued new goals and experiences. Instead of dwelling on loss, she reflected on the lessons and joys each connection brought her. Hannah found gratitude in her experiences. She realized that outgrowing people didn't diminish the value of her past relationships, it enhanced her understanding of herself. By approaching life with this perspective, Hannah felt lighter, more confident, and ready to form deeper, more authentic connections in her present and future. Reflective questions. Pause and reflect. How can I embrace my growth without guilt or regret? Which past connections am I holding on to unnecessarily? How can I open myself to relationships and experiences that align with my evolving self? Reflection helps you release attachment and trust your personal journey. The power of trust and gratitude. When you trust your growth and the natural flow of relationships, you gain inner peace and emotional clarity, confidence in your decisions and path, appreciation for meaningful connections, past and present, openness to authentic experiences and people. Growth is not about losing, it's about evolving with integrity and purpose. A final takeaway. You don't lose people. You outgrow them. Each connection that naturally moves away leaves space for alignment, authenticity, and meaningful experiences. Trust your journey, honor the past, and step forward with confidence and gratitude. Your evolving path is unique, valuable, and worthy of respect from yourself and from the people who are meant to walk with you along the way. Thank you for spending this reflective time with Wisdom Words. If this message resonated, share it with someone who might need it. Remember, outgrowing people is not a loss, it's growth, clarity, and freedom to embrace what aligns with your life today.